The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Over the past 6 months, Rolling Stone conducted dozens of interviews with Combs' former friends, acquaintances, employees, and bad boy artists, as well as industry insiders. Out of 300 plus people contacted for this investigation, more than 50 were willing to speak about their experiences. Several would do so only off the record, citing a fear of retribution. Some requested compensation in exchange for their stories. Rolling Stone does not pay for interviews. Many declined to participate, wanting to distance themselves from Combs. I'm trying to leave that part of my life behind me, says one former employee. Let's dive into this, y'all. So I read the Rolling Stones expose. They did a nice piece, long piece, pause. It took me like 35, 45 minutes to read that. And I wanted to come here and give y'all my perspective on the top 5 things that caught my attention because I really wanted to leave the conversation of Diddy behind me once they raided his home and everything. But if I'm going to participate in curating and conversating about hip hop, I just got to touch bases on these topics. So, what I just read y'all, that was the beginning of the expose. I'm going to put a link in the description for y'all to see and read it if this is something of your interest. But what I want to say about that first part, right? I forgot when they raided his home, but it wasn't 6 months ago. So they've been curating and writing this piece before the raid even happened. I wonder if Rolling Stones and Homeland Security, the feds, lawyers, uh, the Supreme Court, and all of them was in cahoots and communicating with each other. So this Rolling Stones piece wouldn't come out before the raid happened. Because all of these things that they knew, we're going to get into it too. All of these things that they knew prior to the raid happening. They said they've been working on this for 6 months. So let's get into it. Now, I'm gonna play the things that caught my attention a lot. So the first one I want to cover is the Rolling Stones cover incident after the death of Notorious Big. I'm gonna read it to y'all. Let's go. When Rolling Stone approached Bad Boy about a cover opportunity a few months after Biggie's murder, Burroughs claimed he advocated for the late rapper to take the spot. I was telling Sean, let's make it Biggie. You still have a chance for a cover in the future, Burroughs recalls. He's like, no, he's dead. I'm putting out Combs' debut album, No Way Out, in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Combs got his cover, and 2 years later, he acknowledged how Biggie's death had been big business. I think his passing added to the fame, Combs told Rolling Stone in the 1999 issue. You see the cover on the screen. At least 2 million of the nearly 5 million copies of No Way Out sold were due to his death, straight up. And that doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality. Now that's a sign of what Suge Knight used to talk about all the time. You don't want no boss that's dancing in your videos, that's always wanting to be in the spotlight, that want to be on the cover of the magazines. He, he had a thing about himself that he wanted to be the star. This is just my opinion. He wanted to be the lead of the label. Like that's cool and all though, man, but the man died, man. That was his last chance of getting the cover. And then in that magazine, in the article, he agreed that most of my success on my debut album came from Notorious Big's death. And it doesn't feel good. Let's get into something that I had no clue about. about the Notorious Big and his thoughts of Bad Boy near his death. And I wonder if it, like, was this known in the streets? Because I know I got a New York following. For some reason, I'm in Charlotte. I'm a brother from Tennessee, but for some reason, New York individuals gravitate to my channel. So let me read this part of the expose, and I need to hear from my New York folks. Was this known in the streets up top? Real talk. Multiple reports alleged Wallace had been preparing to leave Bad Boy shortly before his death. It didn't help that Combs had been fighting with Wallace's attorneys, who were trying to wrest back the rapper's publishing rights. I will never give it up until I'm dead and my bones are crushed into powder, Combs told the lawyers, according to the Big Payback. Biggie was absolutely about to leave Puff, Bun says. I know for a fact because he told me that. Another sources add, everybody wanted to leave Puff. Everybody leaves him. So the only thing that give me a clue about this, me a clue, because you know what I mean, I don't know. I'm everything that I'm saying is speculation right now because I'm a fan of creativity, hip hop, and the art. I remember Biggie was coming out with a clothing line, wasn't it 666 or something? And it seemed like he didn't even want to, you know what I mean? He was distancing himself from bad boy artists and doing features and all of that. It was different before his death, but it been rumblings like after he died that he was about to leave Bad Boy. The business was funny, and everybody left him, and that's what make people speculate that Diddy had something to do with his passing, because your star can't leave you, dog. Your star can't leave you. When your star leave you, that's like, look at Birdman now that Lil Wayne gone. It just don't look the same. It don't feel the same. He doesn't have the same star power. And most of the time, these execs, they're looking out for their best interest. They ain't looking out for their artist's best interest. The artist signed the bad deal, and the exec make most of the money. I think that's wrong and that's cruel and everything though. But that's business, and that was taught to them by somebody. I don't want to put people out there. Well, I it don't matter. It was taught to Diddy, Suge Knight, uh, Birdman, Rick Ross. It was taught to beat the artist. It was taught by the white man, because that's the type of contracts they get into. Then they be like, man, I'm gonna go pick my young niggas up, put them in the same type of deal that I got in, and we're gonna rob them. When you knowledgeable of that type of stuff though, it shouldn't be all about like getting a little piece of the money from your artists or your partners or whatever because he can rap and he's hot. It should be a uplifting thing. That's what type of time I would be on if I was in that position. It would be an uplifting thing. But we're going to talk about the incident that happened in Howard that I didn't have no clue of. This incident is was written in a Rolling Stone piece about an incident that happened at Howard before before Diddy was famous. Let's go. Back in the Uptown offices, Combs' inflated ego, outsized opinions, and Manchevalin scheming were becoming the problem for his peers. He went for internally divisive to openly controversial in December 1991 when he and Heavy D helped organize a celebrity charity basketball game at City College of New York that left 9 people dead. Oh, this wasn't at Howard, y'all. My fault. Left 9 people dead. How did it leave 9 people dead? Hold up, I got to pause in the reading for a second, y'all, because I know nothing about this. But this is interesting to me. He helped him and Heavy D. So how did it escalate into 9 people dying? What happened for 9 people to die? That's crazy. Let me continue reading though. From ages 15 to 28, and dozens injured in a stampede. Combs shirked responsibility, claiming he had tried to enlist help from the NYPD and that he had personally administered CPR to several people. But an incident report ordered that then Mayor David Dinkins faulted him for allowing inexperienced underlings to handle the event's planning and found that reckless. Hmm. So, can we actually blame him because he is the celebrity face behind that incident? You know, a lot of times they blame the celebrity face behind incidents that happen, but I was 11 when it happened. I'm uninformed on that situation. I don't know if he did anything to cause people to stampede and folks to die and all of that old type stuff. But they're gonna put his name on attached to it. And that was before he was famous. You know what some people will say, Trev, you sugarcoating it. You know that was a ritual for him to get into the industry. Somebody had to go. Somebody had to get knocked off. That's how he got on because he's willing to let people lose their life. I ain't really, you know what I mean? I ain't really for that type of behavior. But another thing, I'm gonna play the audio. Another thing that happened in this expose, interview from the Breakfast Club came out about how his relationships and how he deal with relationships and stuff like that. Man, I be saving so much stuff to create content for y'all. It's ridiculous. But I'm gonna play this clip from this interview if I can find it. Lord have mercy. I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time. Let me try to find it right quick though. Okay, here it go.
Can deliver out of a pie is
Oh no, we not playing that. We're not playing that music involved.
No, because why was his son even in the same room for this type of conversation?
what I can deliver. I've broken this down. What I 25%, 75%. Which
I just had to play that clip right quick because you know what I mean. Some things do not even need to be said because you incriminate yourself talking too much. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't have never told the world that 25% I'm shitty and 75% I'm great. That's not cool. Like it sound like you saying some fly shit when in all reality you saying some cap shit. Now let's read the last thing that caught my attention because you know what I'm saying? I was curious about Shakir Stewart. I know he was an exec in the music industry. He founded, I think he founded Rick Ross also, but I know that he founded Jeezy. And he had a lot to do with Jeezy getting a deal at Def Jam. But let me read this interesting piece from the Rolling Stone expose. In 2000, Porter's fleeting courtship with late music executive Shakir Stewart enraged Combs. When the industry gathered for L.A. Reid's wedding in Italy that summer, Combs went to Stewart's room after the ceremony and allegedly broke a chair over Stewart's head. Stewart's mother and two of his close friends tell Rolling Stone he left him bleeding on a hotel floor in Italy. Stewart's mother, Portia, says he had to have stitches and then Combs threatened him, I'm going to you. That's when I said, you need to get out of the business. This man is crazy. You know, I said I was going to talk about the top five things. I showed six things that caught my attention in this piece that Rolling Stone created, and it's more. And like I said at the top of the show, I'm gonna leave the link in the description. But in closing, I want to say something to people. A lot of us strive for money, success, riches. We all want to be successful. You know, a lot of these people that are successful, they do evil things to get to where they at. And money don't always equal a happy life. Like you got to be able to control your emotions also because being emotional led to a lot of the things that Diddy's involved in: lust, emotion, sex. You know, it's a spooky thing to see somebody that a lot of the black community looked at and wanted to achieve the things that he has achieved. They viewed him as successful when in our reality, he was living a demonic lifestyle that wasn't healthy. But I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Thank y'all, man. Peace, love, plenty of abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson